child. Okay. Let me go and get this together, honey. Go and get this where I need it to be. Okay, so we can get into this. Okay. Now, wait a minute. Now, wait a minute. Okay, there we go. I was like, girl, now what's the going on? Oh, well, hey, bitch. It's Jamie, that's me here. Welcome back to the channel, honey. Listen, we got to go ahead and talk about Jonathan Majors, okay? Y'all know the interview has dropped, so I definitely want to touch on it just a bit, okay? If you're new to the channel, go ahead and subscribe, honey. If you're coming into this video and you have yet to hit that like button, girl, go ahead and tap that button. Hello? Okay, go ahead and just do what you got to do, all right? I want to talk about the Jonathan Majors interview that he recently did. Y'all know he just recently had a trial at the end of last year with his ex-girlfriend, Grace Jabari, brought against him by the DA of New York, from my understanding. There was an altercation that took place back in March, roughly, between he and his girlfriend. He received a text message. I guess they had a night out on the town or whatever. He received a text message from a woman saying that she would love to be kissing him at the moment. The girlfriend saw it, reached for the phone. There was a tussle or whatever the case is for the phone, okay? Jonathan hops out the vehicle. Video and things ended up surfacing at a later time, all right? So there was some type of exchange that was happening in the back of the vehicle. According to the driver, he says that Grace Jabari, the girlfriend, was the person that was being aggressive based on what he was hearing. He didn't necessarily say he saw anything, but I refuse to believe that. He said he kept his eyes on the road, and because of that, the judge told him, like, you need to speak to the things that you saw or whatever, instead of speculating what you think you heard in the back seat. But girl, ain't no way somebody gonna be tussling in the back of my motherfucking car, and I'm not over here looking at the rear view, girl, while I'm driving. Girl, no, she ain't. Girl, bitch, let me hurry up and get these folks the fuck up out my car. No, did she just slap this man? Oh, bitch, I gotta hurry up. Like, girl, ain't no way I'm finna be sitting up here looking straight forward and some commotion is happening in the back of my car. I don't give a fuck who you are. So I definitely believe he saw something. Okay, I do believe that. Even though he got on the stand and said that he didn't. But either way, okay, he was saying that Grace Jabari was the person that was the most aggressive. We saw the video. We didn't necessarily see what happened inside of the vehicle. Even though I believe Jonathan's attorney said that there was footage inside of the vehicle, and we never saw that. But what we did see was the footage outside of the vehicle. But at the end of the day, we don't really know what happened in the car. We only know what was speculated. And according to Grace, he twisted her arm, put her arm behind her back, caused her to get a scratch behind her ear, and some, swelled up her finger, or whatever the case is, right? Well, we saw the footage of him outside of the vehicle where he was trying to get away. She was continuing to hold on to him. He kept putting her back into the vehicle. She kept sliding out. Eventually, he just was like, F it. They start walking. As she continues to hold on to his jacket, he snatches away from her and cuts out running for a few blocks. She decides that she's going to run and chase behind him. You would have thought that he had something that belonged to her whole time. He never had anything that belonged to her, okay? I guess he belonged to her, so she decided to run after him or whatnot. But what ended up happening was she met some strangers, asked them if they know Jonathan Majors, and he just did this or that or whatever the case is. We got into it, whatever. Long story short, he slept at a hotel. She went back to his home to stay. I believe he sent her a text message breaking up with her. When he got back to his house the next day, from my understanding, he was knocking on the door. As she was inside, she would not open the door. I don't know how he did not have his own key to his apartment, but he had to call the doorman or whoever to let him into his apartment. Now, what came out in court was the fact that Grace Jabari was inside and pretty much heard that man knocking at the fucking door and was not going to open it. Okay, she also sent a text message to somebody else around the same time that Jonathan was beating on the door. By the time Jonathan got in, because it wasn't that much of a difference between the time that she sent that text message and Jonathan was able to enter the apartment, he comes upstairs, her ass laid out on the floor. Okay, she's stretched out on the floor like she done overdosed or whatever the case is, and he's like, something ain't right. So he called 911 to get her some assistance. Hello. 911 get there, they tell him to step outside. He sits over the police go and pull her to the side, have a conversation with her. She's having to, in my opinion, continue this act that like, oh girl, I done sat up here and act like I overdosed this man. I really sat up here and called the cops, girl. Now I gotta go with it, girl. I cannot break scene. Let me keep going. And so they talked to her, asked her if anything went wrong, what happened, whatever the case. And I believe she could have told them about the previous nights. Of course, they ended up seeing that she had, an injury or whatever to her finger, which I truly believe the injury came from her pulling on that man's coattail and that man yanking the fuck away from her. Okay, that's what I truly believe happened. But as far as the cut on her ear, that's still suspicious. We don't know. That could have happened inside of the vehicle. It could have happened somewhere else. Okay. But either way, that was something that happened, and it's like, that's sad. Jonathan called the cops to get you help, but he's the one that ends up being arrested, and his fears came true. Okay. So now you have a charge, and they were all misdemeanor charges, which was just crazy to me. Just a little bit that it even went to trial, because it could have been dropped the moment that it was indicated that Grace Jabari also acted in a certain behavior that led to her being arrested as well. Let's be very clear. She was indeed arrested as well. Okay. But because the DA knows when a victim is likely arrested or whatever, when they know that that could possibly hurt their case, they wasn't gonna do that. Okay, they wasn't, they weren't gonna put her in a position to make her look any worse in the courtroom and less credible. So therefore, they say they weren't gonna, prosecute her or anything. Y'all can arrest her all day, but we're not going to prosecute her. Okay, our goal is to come after this rich black man over here. Okay. What else happened? And I still be thinking about that Alvin Bragg man, because something happened, I believe, with another attorney in New York, where they were trying to pin a SA case on this man, on this attorney or whatever. And they concocted a scheme with the police officers and something dealing with Alvin Bragg. I got to go back and check out the videos and stuff that I was seeing. And the girl had done interviews saying, I don't even know where they got their testimony from, because that never happened. Whatever happened between me and that man was consensual. So why did y'all continue to press forward a SA case? Now that man, I think the attorney that was found not guilty for that case that Alvin Braggs and his people was trying to push, I have to check, but I believe that he is trying to sue them. I believe that he is suing them. Okay. And I think Alvin Bragg's name is all up in it, but I got to go back and get the details, girl. But I'm just bringing it up to bring up how, girl, y'all need to keep y'all good eye on Mr. Bragg over there. Okay. Y'all need to keep y'all good eye on that man, because he's giving every bit of trustworthy, and all kinfolk is not, all skin folks is not kinfolk. So keep y'all good eye out, on him, because you try to sit up there and pin an essay on somebody. And then now when I look at the Jonathan Major situation, it's the fact that you allowed this misdemeanor to go as far as it did. And I'm just like, well, this girl also is guilty of something. Okay. Because I don't think that Jonathan was the only person that acted out of character that night. I think it was a combination of things, because if she can admit that she reached for his phone and snatched his phone out of his hand and got physical with him, they both should have been locked the hell up. If that's the case, you know what I'm saying? They both should have had a piece of a charge on them. So anywho, and she got that. She just was not prosecuted. Okay. But I hope that a civil suit is to come in some capacity. All right. So yeah, and it's like, as much as I may feel away or feel bad for Jonathan or whatever, so I'm not 100% there. I'm sorry, I'm not 100% there with you. But we're gonna go ahead and get into, this interview. I just wanted to give you guys a little piece of a recap of how we pretty much got here. Okay, it may not be all of the fine details, but it's most of it. Okay. Now, first of all, I want to get this photo and put it up on the screen of Jonathan. Because I'll be real honest, baby. That's how I was looking at him when I was watching this interview. Like, and I said, what now? Not gonna lie. It just different parts had me like, girl, now who? Let's get into it. So he speaks on how hard this trial was for him and how confusing it was. Okay. I'm sure you were confused from the moment that you made the 911 call, thinking that you're calling to get help for her, only for the call to lead to you being charged and arrested. And now your career is in limbo. Yes, you may have lost the opportunity with Marvel, right? But although they dropped him, I don't know how Marvel works, but I feel like you just never know. If they can't find a better Kang in the next 2 to 3 years, they might be like, okay, Jonathan's been out here working. Let's reinstate his career and let's just try and spin this around because it's time for us to make more money. We got to make more money. With the Kane character, he's going to be about the best one we got. So let's see how we can spin this, turn it around and make it look good. So she might end up going back over there with Marvel. Who knows? It's just that right now they dropped him. I don't know. Okay. But his career is definitely in limbo because of this situation. I know he was like, damn, I should have just never called her no damn help. I should have just checked that whole pulse, see if she was alive, and sprinkle some water on that whole face, say, get up, go on, get up, get up. Can you go ahead and get your stuff, collect your things, and go ahead and be at my apartment by X, Y, and Z amount of time? Okay? I'll be back at a certain time to see if you've collected your shit to get the hell out of my house. Okay, he just handled it like just all wrong. Just all this whole relationship, Jonathan. I hope you learned a major lesson. Let's keep going, okay? And it's not so much as about her being a white woman, because this could be any woman, but there are different nuances within this case where you ain't got no choice but to talk about the race, and it is what the hell it is, okay? Now, anywho. He starts the interview off for the most part to me teary-eyed, okay? Although he says that this case was like, very hard. It was confusing for him. He also starts getting emotional, which I kind of felt like was a bit performative. I know everybody cries differently, and I'm not saying he should have been up there boo-hooing, but it was giving forced tears, and it's just what it is for me. It was giving, let me force these tears to try and come out. And then he says that he hasn't seen his daughter for some time throughout all of this. So I guess that's what brought him like tears to his eyes. Like it wasn't believable. It was definitely giving performative in my opinion. Okay. I did not believe him when I saw that. I thought that I would once I saw like most of the interview, because all they're doing is dropping different clips of the interview. So I'm not sure how long the interview lasted, but I thought that I would be able to connect with the tears. I didn't. I'm sorry. He acknowledges that he put himself in this situation, and he says that it was time for him to talk. Because she asked him like, what made you want to talk now? He said it was time for him to talk because a lot has happened, in his life, in his career, and the culture. Hello, and Jonathan, I like you. Don't get me wrong, okay? I think you're a great actor. I'm going to continue to check out some of the stuff that you do. I'll be very honest about that. But can you leave the culture out? Because that's the same thing you said to this girl when you was over here talking about, I'm a good man. I'm trying to do great things for my culture. X, Y, and Z, A, B, C, B, B, D. Just step back from the culture, baby. Okay? Because y'all be killing me how y'all be like the culture, but y'all really don't. Do y'all really be the culture? Anywho. And then he goes on to say it's about responsibility. Now, what responsibility were you speaking of necessarily? I guess the responsibility to speak out and defend yourself or something, because you was very adamant that you don't feel like you're guilty of a goddamn thing, okay? So what responsibility were you speaking of? He says that he was shocked at the verdict and that he was wondering, how is it possible? Like, how do you say I'm guilty but I ain't guilty in so many words? Because what they said was, the jury did not find him guilty of assault or harassment, as in like they didn't believe that he intended to do any of those things. Okay, they don't think that that was an intent of his. However, he acted recklessly, and because he acted recklessly, it did lead to the injury that she got. Which I'm like, how y'all watch that whole video and not see that? Well, how I'm looking at it is, once he snatched away because he was trying to get away, she caused her own injury, because why are you pulling on this person? See, what he did, his action was a reaction to her action. Even in the car, in a sense, when she snatched the phone and whatever else she did, going off of what the driver talking about, it's like it was a reaction to an action. I'm not saying he should physically, put his hands on her or anything, but I'm just like, it was a reaction to her action. And it's crazy that she won't be held accountable for anything. But anyway, he goes on to say, when the question was asked, the jury didn't believe that you intended to do these things, but because those things happened, you were reckless, and that led to certain things, that led to her injury or whatever the case is, and led to you harassing her, which is interesting, because usually when I hear the word harass, I think of a person that's constantly hounding you, making you feel super uncomfortable about things. But I believe in New York, harassment for what they listed on the charge meant something completely different. It had a few different things that was different. But anywho, when asked the question about whether or not he was reckless, he said, I mean, girl, I was reckless with her heart. But if you talking about reckless with her body, no, ma'am. Don't put that on me. That ain't got to do with me. I'm not going to co-sign that. He says the things that she alleged that happened in the vehicle, as far as him twisting her arm, putting it behind her back, causing the cut behind her ear, all of that, he said it never happened, and he wished to God that he actually knew how those things happened, because it would provide him some type of clarity of what the hell happened. Because I'm wondering, like, she trying to say she had this injury to her hand and stuff. I think it was originally it was stated that the finger was broken, but come to find out it was never broken or anything like that. Also, I believe the Jonathan's attorneys put on the stand somebody. I don't know whose witness it was, but they spoke on the injury and said that whatever Grace was alleging happened to her finger due to some situation with Jonathan, they said it doesn't equal to that, basically. The result of what she got on her finger does not equal the story of what she's telling, basically. Okay, and that came from a medical professional. What else? They said that what else did she say? Yeah, we don't know how the cut happened behind her ear, but I just think that his attorney didn't do that great of a job, in my opinion. It seems like she was trying to drive home the black and the white situation, and it's like, why are you trying to drive home a racial situation when it's probably, I think they said it was only one black lady that was sitting in the on the jury, and then you may have had some other races, but predominantly they were white people that were on the stand. You had maybe a few people that weren't white or black, but keep in mind, people that aren't white or black often lean more so to the whiter side, but either way. And you had the one black lady. So it's like, why are you sitting over here trying to make it this a racial thing when it's just call out the facts for what the hell they are? Okay, now, like, yeah, it's a black and white, but at the end of the day, he chose that white woman. So, girl, what else let's talk about what's happening in the video. Okay? Talk about how this man is literally trying to run from this woman who literally just assaulted him in a car. Or whatever the case is. Like, she could have did a better job with how she handled his case. What else? Yeah, so basically, I feel like it could have been pried more into, like, what the hell did she do that night? Because then when she said she had these injuries and stuff, they show her hanging out at the party with these random strangers over there by the DJ booth, throwing back drinks and stuff, literally using Jonathan's card to buy herself drinks and all these other motherfuckers that he does not know. And it's hard for me to not think, Jonathan, that's what you get. You gave her too much leeway into your life. She got a key to your house. And, you know, that's what people do or whatever. She got a key to your house, and she got your car, and she running up a check on your shit. Now, granted, girl, a woman that's scoring, some part of me is like, girl, run it up, because he shouldn't have been over there texting no other bitch on his phone anyway. Talk about something, I wish I could kiss you right now. Like, that's disrespectful. That's disrespectful. Hello? But at the same time, you wrong. Okay? Knowing what I truly believe, how she played that scene up in the bathroom, knowing she just sent somebody a text and then now all of a sudden you unconscious, bitch. Can't nobody tell me that Grace didn't put her best acting performance on in that bathroom. Okay? So that's why I can't fully go up for her ass. All right? But at the same time, like, bitch, you wrong as hell for taking that man's car. That's why I hope he sue you. Taking that man's car, girl, you take this to Judge Mathis, you know you're going to have to run that man his coin. And then some, I think they said she ran up, like, I think she bought an $800 bottle. So she ran up a check that was over $800 on this man's card. Girl, I cannot. Okay? I can, Girl, I would have, girl, I wouldn't be able to get that lawsuit to her ass so quick. That silver suit, it would be Happy New Year, bitch. Okay? She would have had that shit in hand January 1 midnight. Understand, because I would have sued the dog got her ass. But anywho, what else ended up happening? He now wants to say if the story was reversed, he was chasing her, or really he didn't even say himself. He said if you look at that video and it was reversed and it was a black man chasing a white woman, he says that that black man would be dead in the street in New York. Baby, Jonathan, this is why I said you have to stop. You have to stop for me, sweetheart. Okay? You should have thought of that the moment the relationship got toxic between y'all. Don't be trying to come to no interview now. Okay, now granted, because a part of me is on your side just a little bit, honey, because I do feel like you weren't all wrong in this situation. I do believe that there were shared issues on both ends. However, do not bring your ex down here to Good Morning America, talking to America, saying some shit like, if it was a black man chasing a white woman and it was reversed, that man would be dead in the street. You should have thought about that shit when the relationship started to get toxic as fuck. You should have already knew how it was going to pan out for you. That's why whatever situation happened in September, whether she clocked herself or whatever it is that she did, because Grace strikes me as the type of person that would likely harm herself. Hello? And then sit up there and go and report and make it seem like somebody else did whatever to her. She strikes me as that type of person. And for you to text her and say, I don't believe that you would protect the both of us, baby, that was the moment you should have pieced the fuck out. Why is you with a person that you don't believe is going to protect the both of y'all or protect you or whatever the hell the case is? Like, why are you with a person like, and it likely was toxic before that? See, y'all enjoyed that toxicness, and now that toxicness then got your ass caught the hell up. Okay, so don't be trying to come over here trying to use that on us. And I feel like you being advised by your attorney. Cut it out. Y'all still trying to push this black-white narrative thing. And we don't really need that, in my opinion, this white situation to know that you were not 100% wrong in what happened. Hell, even the jury don't feel like you intended to do none of the shit that you did. Okay, I didn't mean to hit her ass with my car. I didn't. But because I did, I was reckless. I was responsible for what, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's pretty much what it is. Okay. So, yeah. All right. What else? Don't be trying to play that race shit on us. I feel like Priya over there giving you some tea and telling you what direction to go. And it's not actually going to work because y'all not reading the room. But anywho, so his evidence of the scratches and bruises that he had on him that came from Grace were not admissible in court. Now, some part of me kind of can see why, although I feel like it should have been, because if she's going to be able to bring her stuff, he should be able to bring his shit too. Okay? I mean, if we gonna talk about it, let's talk about all of it, period. How is it y'all couldn't admit his bruises or whatever the case was, his injuries from that night, but you can go all the way back to a situation that happened out of the United States and bring that in as evidence for the jury to consider when making their decision? I don't think that was necessarily fair. Now, granted, I feel like even with them presenting, even if your stuff was allowed in the courts, it still would have looked, I mean, to me, it could be defense wounds. You know what I'm saying? You could have put her in a position to where she was clawing at your ass. And that's how the DA would have played it up. They would have been on something like, yeah, but those are defense wounds. So I don't even know why they didn't even add it or allow it to be admissible in court. It could have really went, I guess, either way. All right. But there's that. Now, he speaks on the Coretta Scott King comment, and he says that he was trying to give an analogy based on what he is trying to be and trying to use as a reference point. Who and what the hell are you trying to be? He's talking about he's trying to be like Martin and Obama. So are you trying to be the president and you trying to lead the black folks to freedom? Like, what I'm confused, baby. What role? I mean, you're an actor. So is your goal to get out of acting at some point and become a politician? Are you trying to be the black Arnold Schwarzenegger? Or like, I'm just trying to no. I'm trying to understand. Somebody help me out. I'm not even being funny. Like, why out of all of the analogies that could have been used, that is what you chose? I felt like, but I will say this: when he said it, I wasn't in an uproar like some people kind of were, because I understood what he was trying to say, basically saying, I'm going places. And if you're trying to go those same places with me, you need to operate in a certain manner. You can't be out here with your friends drunk, hanging out, doing all this extra shit, and then bringing that shit back to my house. Like, I ain't got to work and it ain't shit I got to do. And people ain't looking at me, because clearly him saying that, he was all about his image and stuff, right? Of course, because he's navigating these Hollywood streets. So I understood what he was saying. Wrong people to use. wrong people to use, and you still sitting up here using Coretta. When you mention Coretta again towards the end of the interview, and I'm gonna bring that up, but I had this same face that you got right now. Like, now why would you say that? Leave Coretta out of it. Okay, people don't know the struggles that Coretta ass went through. Yeah, we over here, glamorize everything like, oh yes, Coretta was married to Mr. King or whatever, Dr. Martin Luther King, and it was just fantabulous. And the girl, we don't know that lady damn struggles for real, for real. We do not know what she endured. And I'm not accusing MLK of anything, but there has been speculations out there, this man cheating and different stuff. Like, we don't know what that lady went through. Okay, we don't know what that lady suffered through. So why would y'all use that? Shit, like, girl, I mean, And then I understand people feeling a way about you trying to get this white woman to relate to these black women. Like, her privilege will never line up. Okay? Will never. This bitch already walking through doors that some of these ladies gonna struggle to get through. Like, I cannot. All right, so I mean, just wrong, and for you to continue to talk about Coretta, just wrong. But if you want to relate Coretta, in my opinion, to Megan, go ahead, because it is giving Megan possibly is suffering. Okay, sitting up here putting up a front. I mean, I don't know how their relationship is, but I just don't. I'm over the Coretta. Don't use her name no more. Don't connect nobody back to Coretta no more. Okay, don't do that. And then, damn sure don't do it about the women that you dating, because the other two ladies was married. At least Coretta was a damn wife, and Michelle Obama is a wife. These just girlfriends now. I mean, damn, why they over there? Okay, trying to hold you down, and you just a piece of a boyfriend or whatever the case is. I guess, and I just thought, oh, girl, let me keep going, because I was like, Jonathan, baby. So he was asked whether he was responsible for her injuries. And when I tell you, I chuckled a little bit because of the way he went around not giving a direct answer. But eventually he did. He says the relationship wasn't healthy, and he was scared to leave, or at least, in my opinion, he was scared to be honest, because he said the relationship wasn't healthy, and I was scared. And I'm like, scared of what? Scared to leave? Scared to be honest? Baby, what? What are you saying? What were you scared of? Okay. He says he shouldn't have been because here's the thing. What were you really scared of? Because what is given is you was the breadwinner. You the one that had it going on. So what were you afraid? Were you scared to be alone? You couldn't have been scared of that because you had another bitch on your phone. So what was you scared of? What was you scared of? I'm confused. He says he shouldn't have been in the car or in the relationship. Then this wouldn't have happened. You right. You should have been broke up with her. It's when it got toxic. Okay, but some people don't learn their lesson, though. They don't learn their lesson. So, situations like this happen for them to get it. He says he should have been brave enough to tell her that he wanted to see somebody else, that he didn't want to be with her no more. He says that is what I'm responsible for. So then the lady said, okay, so you're not responsible for her her injuries. So I appreciate you giving me that roundabout answer, but bitch, I'm a journalist, and this is what I do. Okay, so I'm gonna bring it right back to the question that your ass just skipped over. So I'm gonna ask you again. Hello, I said, come on, Miss Ma'am. I don't know who you is. Well, come on, Miss Ma'am. And she was like, but the injuries, though, that's what we talking about. Are you responsible? He said, I won't say that I am. He said, I can't say that I am. Like, they ain't got nothing on. Don't put that on me. Don't put that on me. No, I ain't. I'm not responsible for that. And I don't know how I feel about that, because I don't know what actually happened inside the vehicle. But based on what I saw outside of the vehicle, he wasn't responsible for that, in my opinion. Well, no. I'm thinking about when he snatched away. When he was putting her in the car, you could have potentially been responsible for something. Because I don't know, she could have hit her head or something. I don't know. You was putting her back in the car. But when she was holding on to you, whatever happened with her hands, I do feel like that's on her. Because she kept pulling on that damn man. I think that's where her injuries came from. But as far as like the head thing, because she had the head, the scratch behind the ear, I don't know how that got there. Maybe that got there from the car or something. I don't know. But, yeah. So he was asked about being suicidal, and he says ideations of removing himself was there since he was a kid, and he's doing the work at this point to kind of like get through. So basically, he's confirming that he was suicidal. And then at some point during the interview, he mentions being severe suicidal. Um, yeah. So I also feel like I feel like he was likely suicidal, but then I also felt like he and Grace would toss that around a lot to get the other to feel away. Like, when you spewing some negative in the argument, I feel like that just became their thing that they would say to each other or something. Because she's also said the same thing to him too. Just weird. Um, what else? It was noted that he plans to appeal the decision. I didn't know if it was really worth it financially, but he plans to appeal the decision, and I wonder what he's going to use to get it appealed. Um, I wonder. I do think he has grounds to appeal it. But I wonder what else, like what all is he going to include in that paperwork for him to try to get this decision appealed, and should it get appealed, overturned, or whatever, thrown out, whatever the case is that going to change his career in Hollywood? You know what I'm saying? But speaking of Hollywood, the question was asked whether or not he believes that he'll work again. And he said confidently, I believe that I will. And the way that he said he believes he'll work in Hollywood again, for me, leads me to believe that he has deals that we don't know anything about that have not been canceled. I think the things that may have come out that everybody probably knew that was on the table probably got cut. But I think that some things may have privately come to him, or whatever the case is, things that's not about to go into production within the next year or so, but by the time it do, people probably the hype gonna die down. So I feel like he said that confidently, knowing that he already has deals on the table. He also then goes on to try to he goes on to me, and it seems like he realizes that, oh, let me not appear too confident, right? So then he says, I pray that I do. And I'm like, Jonathan, baby, performative. Like, I see you. You definitely got them deals on your table. You're a phenomenal actor, but at the same time, I think you like, oh yeah, I gotta act like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this really took a toll on me. Like, I can't let these niggas know everything, all the cars I got right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? I pray I do. At the end of the day, it's to God's timing. It's so to God, Well, do you believe that you deserve a second chance? I mean, yeah, I think that I deserve a second, and I hope that the people think that I deserve a second chance too. Like, I'm like, Jonathan, cut it out, baby. Cut it out. I truly believe this man has contracts on his desk. I do. As far as a second chance, I don't see him not getting one. He wasn't completely wrong in the situation. Like, he was trying to run away from her, even called the cops to help this bitch. Hello? But you did have reckless behavior. So, you know what I'm saying? People ain't finna play about that. And they damn sure ain't finna play about that with a white one. A white blonde one at that. Okay? So that's just what it is. He believes that it is unjust that she was arrested but won't be prosecuted. I have to agree. And that's what I'm wondering, if that's going to be a part of his reason to appeal in some fashion. How is it that the police can see that she was negligent for something enough to charge her ass, and then the prosecutors not prosecute? So I think he has a point there. He says if he knew then what he knows now, he would have never picked her up and put her back in the car. He would have just ran. I know that's right. I would have just hopped out the car, just jetted on without doubt. Okay? I would have got out the car and jetted on. But if she's holding on to you for dear life, what the hell you supposed to do? But I definitely would have got out the car and ran. But at the same time, I don't know. Maybe it would not have mattered. I mean, maybe it would have mattered, because he still was found not guilty on whatever happened in the car. So basically, they didn't believe nothing that Grace was saying that happened in the car. All evidence presented, they didn't believe whatever she said happened in the car. They didn't believe that. But based on what they saw outside the car, it looks like you ain't intend to do it, but we see that you kind of did a little something. So I mean, you did kind of you did kind of hurt her finger when you snatched away from her, So we're just gonna say you're guilty of that, okay? Everybody's happy, okay? You're not guilty over here, but we gave you guilty, so everybody should be happy. 4 charges, you're going home with 2. Congratulations. Can we move on? Like, that's what it's given. Okay. What else? They speak on Megan Good. He says she's an angel. And she has held him down like a Coretta. And that gave me this face here as well. Why would you say that? Why? So are you saying that she's suffering through some things? Why would you say that? Why would you say that? I think my biggest thing with Megan is being on this man's arm so soon after this scandal or whatever with his girl. Like, you couldn't do that a year later. Like, y'all could have hunched, whatever y'all gonna do behind the scenes. But you couldn't wait until the trial was over, and then this March, like, the trial would have been over in December. Y'all keep it low and then pop out in March of this year. Like, y'all just couldn't, you just couldn't wait. Okay. And then he goes on to say that he is so blessed to have her. Baby, I think I found her. All of that was performative. Girl, I said, no, he's not. And Megan over there giving performative too. The way she's looking like concerned. I said, girl, y'all some badass actors. And not bad in a bad way, bad in a good way. Okay? I see y'all. All right. So he says he has witnessed DV when asked about him being, an abusive person in the past. He says, nah, like he said, I witnessed it, but I've never participated in it. He was like, I've been smacked up before. I had, a horrible, I guess, like, different parts of his childhood wasn't that great or whatever. He says that the people, so there were a long list of people that came out and tried to talk about his character, say he was toxic, say he was this, say he was that. But what's so funny to me is the DA tried to bring that up in the trial just a bit, but why the hell you ain't bring none of them people in that was talking that shit? Because when people were saying that, some folks was like, that's not true. Okay. It was also said that some people that came out and said I lied. So if they really said, why they ain't come to the front and just go ahead and just testify to what you were so loud and proud on Twitter? Might as well go into the courtroom and tell them what the hell you know. Why you ain't getting none of them to come back and talk, right? So Jonathan says, he says that, so the people that alleged that he was toxic, this or that. So he says that he had very few relationships. So basically he's like, I've never participated in no DV, coming up. I really had, very few relationships. I believe that. People have constantly joked on what Jonathan Majors looked like back then. He looks like a man back then that would get few relationships. Now, it doesn't mean that he didn't harm those people. You know what I'm saying? But he definitely had a few relationships. So all these people coming out saying he did this and he did that and did that. Who are y'all? And y'all didn't even show up in court. But he did say that his attorneys reached out to people in case they needed them to come up and, like, speak about how he was in the relationship. But I don't know what happened with that. So I guess they didn't show up either. I don't know if they told him don't show up because ain't nobody that's been talking about him being toxic is showing up, so we don't need y'all to rebuttal that. So don't worry about it. I don't know what happened with that. What else? So he says he hasn't always been a good boyfriend, but he can't confirm that he's never hit a woman. Like, I may not have always been great, but I ain't never put my hands on him. So that's what Jonathan says. Okay. So all in all, that's pretty much the breakdown of what I've captured from the short little clips that they've dropped of the interview that he had with Good Morning America. The decision will be appealed. At what point will it be appealed? I have the slightest. I do not know. I'm interested to find out, like everyone else. Okay, but that's all that I have at this time. I want you guys to go ahead and hop down in the comments. Let me know your thoughts about Jonathan Majors and this overall trial. Do y'all think that even though he was found not guilty on the intent but found guilty on being reckless, do you guys see his career bouncing back? Do you see it getting back to where it needs to be? Did you guys notice some of the similar things that I noticed in the interview? Did you have some of the same facial expressions and reactions to the interview as I did? Let me know your thoughts and everything down below. Okay, I'm Jami. That's me. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share my videos. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Jami. That's me. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.